This is Ben with your Black Agenda Report Morning Shot. Free the land. On August 3rd, President Barack Obama signed into law the Fair Sentencing Act of 2010, reducing the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity between crack and powder cocaine. The Senate approved the proposal in the spring. For the past 3 decades, those arrested for crack offenses, mostly young black men, face far harsher penalties than the white and Hispanic suspects most often caught with powder cocaine. A person found holding 500 grams of powder cocaine was faced a 5-year mandatory minimum. Crack offenders would have to be in possession of a mere 5 grams to face the same obligatory sentence. Crack offenders faced a 10-year mandatory minimum for carrying 10 grams of the drug. The same penalty would not kick in for a powder cocaine suspect unless caught with 1,000 grams. The Fair Sentencing Act of 2010 reduced the disparity to 18-to-1. An offender would have to be convicted of peddling 28 grams of crack or more of crack to be hit with a 5-year mandatory sentence. A 10-year prison term would be handed down for 280 grams or more. Penalties for powder offenses are unchanged. The legislation also eliminates a mandatory minimum sentence for simple possession, a significant advance in of itself. Some critics of the crack sentences have pushed for complete elimination of the disparities. Julie Stewart, president of Families Against Mandatory Minimum, states, "Making the new 18-to-1 ratio retroactive is essential. And here's why. If you commit a crack crime today, you will be sentenced under the new law. But if you committed your crime on August 2nd, you will be sentenced under the old 100-to-1 disparity. Unless the crack reforms are made retroactive, getting a fair sentence becomes a matter of luck, not a matter of justice. When a manufacturer issues a defective product, they don't just fix the problem going forward, they do a total recall. Recalling the defective 100-to-1 disparity for everyone will bring relief to thousands of families and increase respect for the justice system. Getting a just sentence should not depend on something as arbitrary as the date the crime was committed, especially when sentences for that crime have been unjust all along." In education news, the Scott Foundation for Public Education issued a new study concerning the graduation rates for black males in the public school system. The 50-state report has come to a dispiriting conclusion. Public education is failing black male students. Nationwide, the graduation rate for this demographic of students is 47%, but the graduation rate for white males is 78%, according to the report. That is a 31% gap, and in some major cities, it's perilously low. In New York City and Philadelphia, for example, only 28% of black males complete high school on time. Unsurprisingly, the Scott Foundation was one of the civil rights groups that warned the Obama administration that its Race to the Top program would not result in, quote, equal education for all. John H. Jackson, president and CEO of the Scott Foundation, said, "We must focus on systemic change to provide all our children the opportunity to learn." And finally, jazz legend Abbey Lincoln passed away this Saturday at the age of 80. She was born Anna Marie Wooldridge in Chicago on August 6, 1930, the 10th of 12 children, and grew up in rural Michigan. She stopped straightening her hair and in 1959 released one of her most memorable early albums, Abbey is Blue. In 1960, she and Roach made the then radical reporting We Insist, Max Roach's Freedom Now Suite, which has been called the first outright protest album. The recording was released in 1960 and depicted a lunch counter sit on the cover. Lincoln summed up her roller coaster of a career saying, "I made my life mine. That's what you're supposed to do," she said. "Too many people lead their lives to the tune of other people's ideas. I made my life mine." This has been signing off with your Black Agenda Report Morning Shot, saying, free the land.